This week's scenario is two fronts and does not consist of the Killbox Artifice. It consists of two zones, the friendly zone being able to be dominated for 1 CP, the enemy zone controlled for 1 CP and dominated for 2 CPs, and then the enemy objective may be destroyed for 1 CP once per player. The objectives have defense 5, armor 18, and 15 damage boxes and have the fuel special rule. While the objective is not contested, friendly models beginning their activation within 4 inches of this model can run or charge without being forced or spending focus.
Hey, this is Solus. So for today's battle I've decided to play Thagrosh the Messiah, or Epic Thagrosh, along with an Angel, 2 Scythians, a Raek, a Seraph, a Naga Nightlurker, 2 Shredders, a Shepherd, and 2 Forsakens. This is basically a list that I saw at the Warmachine weekend, and I thought it looked kind of interesting to play. And I haven't really made any changes to the list. It functions quite well, so we'll see how it goes.
Hello, this is Pokey. This is my typical Dominar Rasheth chain gang list. It starts out with Dominar Rasheth, Bronzeback, Sentry, Gladiator, a min unit of beast handlers, a max unit of gators. It's actually 2 max units of gators, because what's better than 1 than 2? Then the Swamp Gobber Bellow crew, then 2 Paingiver Taskmasters, and the nice little twist, 3 Agonizers, all under tier 4. Alright, I ended up winning the role to go first. So, in typical fashion, I put the Gators and a Taskmaster in front of one zone, Dominar Rasheth with his battle group towards the center, because all of them being very slow, it makes sense to have them in the middle so they can kind of react to either side. And then the other Gators on the other flank with their Taskmaster. Beast Handlers go behind the unit, and then the Agonizers are each one behind each of the Titans. Basically, so when I advance, everybody has their own little protective buddy. I guess that's what you can call it. Makes it simple.
So for my deployment, I place Thagrosh more or less centrally, and I place a Scythian off to either side, so that I can hopefully utilize their speed and clear out zones. And if I really need to, I can utilize Slipstream to get them to where I really need them to go. I put the Seraph and the Naga off to one flank, so that I can use the Seraph's shooting ability as well as the Naga's poison shot, well, critical poison shot, to hopefully whittle down the Posse on that flank.
With having to go first, it's pretty simple. Turn. I activate the Gators, they do march, and then they run. Activate their Taskmaster, she advances forward, she gives them Tempered Flesh, which is tough. Then on the opposite side, they will do Dirge of Mist, which is +1 defense, and Terror, but Legion doesn't care too much about Terror. Then the Taskmaster advances and gives them Tempered Flesh. Pretty much a rinse and repeat type situation. Now I activate Rasheth. He drops 6 points, or 6 Fury, to put Rush up on the Gladiator, the Sentry, and the Bronzeback. I then drop my final 2 into 2 of the Agonizers, putting them each up to 4. He then advances forward to hopefully get some cover from the wall. Then I activate the Gladiator. He rows for 3 and then runs, because Rasheth is now bare bones naked. No fury. Then the Bronzeback activates, and he runs, and, well, he rallies for 1 and then runs up the field. Then the Sentry activates, and he rallies for 1 and then also runs. Then the Agonizer activates, and the first one runs up behind the Gladiator. The next one runs up behind the Sentry. And if you haven't guessed, the third one's going to end up running behind the Bronzeback. But first I'm going to run the Gobber crew over to the far zone, my zone, hoping that I can use them actually for contesting. And then the Beast Handlers advance, and there goes the Agonizer.
So for my turn 1, I want to stay out of the threat range of the Posse. Legion Beasts are fairly squishy, even though we are armor 18 on the Scythians, so I don't really want to take a charge from a full Gator Posse. So I want to stay out of their charge range. So I end up going with E-Thagrosh first. He casts Dragon's Blood on the Raek, and then he casts Slipstream and advances, and then puts Tenacity on himself. He also put Tenacity on the Raek. Slipstream the Scythian forward, just trying to get it into a decent position for next turn, and again trying to stay out of the charge range of the Posse there. I just have my Angel move up just a little bit. Then the Shredder advances and puts Tenacity on the Scythian. I have the Shredder advance, the Seraph advances, and slipstreams the Scythian forward, and then he's pretty much done. The Scythian I just have advance, and again just trying to stay out of charge range of the Posse. I have the Raek advance, and then I have him go ahead and jump. With his reach, he can jam up the zone, and he can mitigate the charge lanes on the Posse. So my opponent's either going to have to charge the Raek and try and hit it at defense 16, which with Cold-Blooded is not terribly difficult, but I'd rather give up the Raek than the Scythian.
Alright, after watching him shuffle forward, I go ahead and I reave all my fury, remove all the other tokens off the board, figure out what exactly am I going to do this turn. Because I know I need to do something. The Raek isn't going to be very good if it gets in my lines. With its leap and everything else, makes it tough to deal with. So now I gotta figure out what exactly can I get there to get in the way to lock it down. I'm trying to see if maybe I can get the Sentry over there for Locker, because Locker allows it to only advance towards the model. It can only advance directly towards. Might not work with the leap, but I do need to do something. So I start off with Rasheth. And using the arc node, or the once per turn arc node, I cast Carnivore on the Gator unit. And then the Taskmaster ends up taking 3 points of damage, because casting through a warrior model does damage them. But to put the spell up, it was kind of worth it. So now I'm trying to figure out how much to put on each of the Agonizers, because each of the Agonizers should get more, so their bubble is bigger for whichever one of the little cries that they end up doing. So I pretty much go through and I end up topping them off, and then finishing up with sitting on 2. Activate the now wounded Taskmaster. She advances. She gives them Tempered Flesh, which is tough. And because of her commander, because of no sleeping on the job, any tough checks they end up making, they're going to not be knocked down. And now the Gators activate, and they do Dirge of Mist, and they charge. I do leave 2 on the backside just to hold the zone, because I know if I can take out the Raek, I will end up getting hit by somebody over there. So I need to have somebody back there that can please contest the zone. Unfortunately for me, I am not able to kill the Raek with the turns. Dice rolls just weren't with me in the early game here. It was tough. It was tough to see, because I should have been able to do a lot more damage to it. But I just couldn't get it to work. Just wasn't going to happen. So now those guys are just kind of standing there going, oh, somebody's going to die. The Gladiator activates, does 2 to put rush on the Sentry. He then advances, not quite in the zone. I do keep him a little bit further back, because I know with Slipstream, it will allow him to potentially get hit by probably one of the Angel. So I'm just trying to make sure that I keep my beast safe. Now I activate the Sentry. He advanced forward with rush, and then he put one out for Locker, which, like I said before, any War Beasts or War Jacks that move into his melee range can only ever move directly towards him. Hoping that I can potentially save both my beasts there, because an armed 21 Sentry is pretty tough nut to crack. So I'm hoping I can get it to where nothing can get around the edge there. Then the one baby moves forward and ends up doing Gnawing Pain. Then the other one activates, and it's going to, as soon as I finish writing, should have had these tokens done up before the game, but I didn't. So he's going to end up doing his little ability, and he's going to run behind. He is also going to do Gnawing Pain, which is -2 strength, I believe. I have to look it up again. 2 War Beasts. War Beasts are at -2 strength while in the bubble. But because they were full, each of their bubbles are both 8 inches. Because it's 4 inches plus 1 per fury on the Agonizer. So their bubbles are 8 inches. Now the Gators are going to activate. They're going to do Dirge of Mist, and they're going to receive the order to charge. Unfortunately, I fell short by about ½ an inch from hitting the one guy. And he was the closest, so everybody else just kind of shuffled forward. And my biggest thing was trying to keep everybody close, but not too close. Because the last thing I wanted to do is to lose that entire flank in one go. So I think the one back guy was out. But that's okay, because the leader that's up in the front is going to probably end up dying, and it won't matter much anyways. So the Taskmaster activates, advances, gives them Tempered Flesh. Then the Gobber crew, because there's not much I can do with them in this list against Legion, they end up advancing into the back corner, hopefully being out of any kind of a threat range, but still being able to contest or hold my zone. And now what to do with Mr. Bronzeback. I definitely don't want to get him far enough forward where he's going to get hit by the Angel or the Scythean, because if they get this charge off on him, he is really gonna die. So he ends up, I activate him, and he just kind of shuffles sideways and rattles for one. And then the Agonizer moves in behind him. No abilities.
So going into my turn 2, I go ahead and leech all my fury, and I don't bother upkeeping Dragon's Blood. It's already done its job. I had some fairly decent luck in my opponent's last turn, and my Raek is not too hurt. It's got all of its aspects left, so it can actually do some work. I do have some goals for this turn. I would like to whittle down the posses as much as I can. If I can manage to deal with the posses, that means that he really only has a lot of hitting power left in his beasts. So I go ahead and start off with Thagrosh. He casts Slipstream, and I Slipstream the Scythean forward. Then I go ahead and pop my feet, as well as cast Manifest Destiny and Tenacity on myself. And I end up sitting on 2 Fury, and then he swings on the Gator, forcing a tough check and clearing the way for my Scythean to get into the zone and hopefully start hitting Gator Posse. So I have the Raek go ahead and go next, and I have it jump over it advances 0 inches, and then I force it to leap over the Gator Posse, mitigating their unyielding, so they can actually do some damage. It goes ahead and swings, hits, and does some points of damage, and forces a tough check on one of the Gators. I go ahead and buy an attack on the Gator leader. And with Manifest Destiny up, it does help to offset the -2 from the -2 to my damage rolls from the Agonizer. And I have the Shredder. I force it to go rabid. It walks up, and it is outside of the -2, but inside my control area for Manifest Destiny. However, I don't manage to kill him because he makes his tough check. So I buy another attack, and this time I kill him. So 2 Gators down. Far, far, far too many to go. So I have the Seraph go next. It casts Slipstream and then walks over towards the Scythean and continues forward and ends up in the zone. It goes ahead and starts shooting and strafes for 3 total shots. I end up shooting the Gator at the back edge of the zone. It goes ahead and boosts the shot, which does very little damage, if any. Then I boost the next shot, and does some damage, and then I boost the last shot, which does some more damage. Not terrible. I mean, at dice -4, I was kind of hoping to kill it with 3 shots, but things happen. I go ahead and move up the Naga, and I boost a shot at the Taskmaster, hitting with a critical, so it's boosted poison, so I'd get to roll an additional damage dice, so I managed to kill the Taskmaster fairly easily, which is kind of helpful if I don't manage to kill the Posse this turn. It lets me hopefully deal with them in subsequent turns easier, since they won't have tough, and they won't hit me as hard since he lost access to Paingiver. I have the Shepherd walk up and take the Fury off the Naga. The Forsaken walks up, takes the Fury off the Seraph. I have the Angel go ahead and charge the Agonizer behind the wall and boost an armor-piercing attack at him. I don't have his armor, however I do get +2 damage, so I'm rolling straight dice at POW 16 versus his armor 16, and kill it. Because, well, Agonizers are pain, especially when there's 3 of them on the table. So 1 down, 2 more to go. And now I'm debating which way to have the Scythean go. It's more a question of, do I want to walk forward, hopefully kill 2 guys, and then walk forward again and make another swing, or do I just want to walk up, kill as many as I can, and then walk backwards, utilizing the feet move. I end up going ahead and charging. I one-shot the 1 Gator that I hit, so I don't get a chain attack, but I do have second initial, so that'll hit. And it's dice -1, and again, I managed to just one-shot the Gator that I hit. So I have the Shredder go rabid, and it runs, attempting to jam up Gators on that side as much as possible. It doesn't quite get all the way up there, but utilizing the feet, it should jam up pretty good. And, you know, maybe it'll kill something. I have the Scythean advance, and I get a little greedy with him. I have him kill the Gator. The better move probably would have been to have him just sort of hang out where he was, as sort of a backline threat. So once everything's activated, my feet triggers. I have the Shredder on that side advance and do some and take its swing. It doesn't do any damage. I have the Scythean walk backwards and still toe the zone. The Raek's not engaged at this point, so I have it go ahead and walk up and sort of jam up the Sentry and the Gladiator. I don't really think it's going to do a whole lot with its melee attack, but you know, every little bit helps at this point. I have the Scythean move away, and I have the Seraph advance over and still contest the zone. I have the Shredder advance and jam up the Gators. It's too far out for the Manifest Destiny. However, it does get its rapid attack, so it goes ahead and forces a tough check. I have the Naga advance over, and at this point I'm really just trying to still contest the zone and not give my opponent a lot of charge lanes.
Alright. After losing more Gators than I was hoping to on both sides of the zones, it was pretty devastating. Losing the Taskmaster on the closest zone. Knew it was going to happen. She only had 1 health box left, 2 health boxes left after arcing through her. And then getting shot, well, that doesn't help much. And then having the Raek ignore my unyielding, which was a very good move on his part. Did not realize that it was only while they were in combat, not just when they were engaged. So my opponent jumping the Raek behind was a great move. It lowered my armor by 2 and made them very killable. It was very good move on his part. So now it's just trying to figure out what exactly I need to do to try to stop his stop all those beasts from coming in at me. I do have a Raek in my face. I have shredders in my face. It's not a pretty thing. I did end up losing one of my Agonizers, so I have to start with my caster first because he needs to get some stuff done. He needs to figure out what's going to happen. So he ends up putting Carnivore on the Sentry. He does pop his feet. Now it's a matter of trying to figure out what's next. What do I need to do with the rest of the focus that I'm sitting on? I'm sorry, my fury I'm sitting on. So I end up dropping 2 more to put Rush on the Sentry. And then I put 1 more on one of the Agonizers to top him back off again. And hoping that the objective will hopefully screen me somewhat from the beasts. Now the Gladiator activates. He moves forward. He boosts it to hit on the Raek because I need it. So I should have hit it. And then rolling for damage with the feet up. It is at -2 arm, so I was able to take it out with some of the earlier damage dealt to it by the Gators from the second turn. Now that Gator's going to activate, and hopefully he's going to exact some revenge, and he's going to swing over and try to see what he can do for chomping on the little shredder. And once again, because the feet's up, the model is at -2 arm, so it makes it a little bit easier. And I end up killing that guy out of the zone. Now all I have to do is worry about the 2 solos and the heavy. The 2 solos, the heavy, and the light war beast at the other end that I really can't reach anyways. So now it's a game of what happens next. So I kind of go to my next zone because I need to wait to see what the Sentry's going to do, because I needed to do some more activations. So the Taskmaster is going to charge. Not something they normally do, but it's something he's going to do this turn. And ends up failing. They're not meant to be charged into combat anyways, but, you know, might as well give it a try, right? Then the Gators activate. And they end up rolling to hit. And they end up killing off the second shredder. So that's 2 shredders down. It only cost me, you know, what, about 6 Gators in total so far in this game, and I've yet to take out any one of his heavies. So this is getting to a game of a lot of pain for me. So I activate the Swamp Gobbers, hoping to get them in the way of the Scythean, because if he gets into those Gators between his 2 attacks and chain attack, he could potentially wipe out those Gators. So I kind of staggered the Gobbers to hopefully be enough of a roadblock to keep him out of there. Now I activate the Paingivers. They condition the Gladiator. They enrage the Sentry. And then do nothing to the Bronzeback. Now the Sentry activates, and he ends up charging the Scythean. Between Carnivore, well, Enrage lets him charge for free. Rush lets him get plus 2 inches of movement and Pathfinder. So with Carnivore up, it gives him a plus 2 to the hit, and I'm hoping I can do some damage to his heavies. I am locking at least the Scythean and the Angel down with Reach, and the Naga. All of them are locked down with Reach. Now I'm just trying to see what I can do for buying swings and everything else to just kill as much as I can right now before I put up Locker. He is probably going to be full at the end of the turn, but I'm definitely going to do as much damage as I possibly can. With him dropping the Scythean, that was fantastic. He does put up 1 for his Animus of Locker. He then buys attack on the Angel. And once again, because of the feat and Enrage, the feat drops the arm by 2, and Enrage gives him plus 2 strength. So he is actually at plus dice on the Angel, which is nice. So I'm able to hit, and the dice were really with me. I was able to do a lot of damage to those heavies. That was a good feeling. A really good feeling. So I end up buying 1 against the Naga. Figure, you know, full or nothing, right? But don't roll high enough to hit him, which would have been great, because I know I would have put some serious hurt on him if I would have. And now the Agonizer activates. He does Gnawing Pain, and then runs to the wall. Because, you know, having them be minus 2 strength from the feat and minus 2 from Gnawing Pain is a pretty good way to have the Sentry be able to survive. Then the Bronzeback goes and toes in the zone. And the one baby activates, does the Spiritual Affliction, I think that's the one, which does no animi.
So my opponent's turn was really good for him. He managed to kill both my Angel and the Scythian on my left flank. I'm still contesting the zone, but I've lost majority of my heavy hitting power on that side. I go ahead and I walk up a Forsaken, one of the Forsakens who had 2 Fury on him, and he Blight Bombs because there's 2 Agonizers right there, and this is a fairly good time to do so. I really need to get rid of both of them. The Blight Bomb explodes the one screaming -2. I have my other Forsaken advance as well. He walks up and rolling 6 dice at dice -8, I roll exactly 8. So I do no damage to the Agonizer there. I go ahead and roll damage on the Sentry, and I put some points into him. So all in all, not a terrible result. I put some damage into the Sentry, which will hopefully make it easier for me to kill. However, the fact that the Agonizer is screaming no animi means that I have lost access to Slipstream at this point, which is not good, as I need it so that I can move my beasts around, or even Thagrosh himself around, a little bit easier. Also, without Slipstream, any chance of an assassination this turn has pretty much gone out the window. Here, I'm trying to figure out, since I didn't manage to kill the Agonizer, I don't have Slipstream, so I just have my Seraph stand still and aim, and I strafe the Agonizer. It's behind cover, so it's defense 16. I managed to kill it, but it takes all of my shots to do so. So Agonizer's all gone, 3 for 3, but at this point they did their jobs. So I go ahead and go with Th-Agrosh. He casts Manifest Destiny and charges the Sentry. The problem here is I didn't quite check my charges enough, or charge lane enough, so I managed to place them so that 1, I'm not getting cover from the wall, and 2, there's a very good chance that he will be able to charge me with a get into me with a Bronzeback next turn, which is, of course, not ideal. So, I go ahead and try and kill off the Sentry. Which I do. And then Sentry explodes into a cloud. I have the Naga charge the Gladiator, not necessarily to get any damage on it. It was more just to tie it up, so I'm not getting charged by both a Bronzeback and a Gladiator next turn. At this point, I'm really just sort of fishing for the critical Shadowbind, which I don't end up getting. So he's also managed to clear out my Shredders, so I no longer have access to Tenacity, which means that Th-Agrosh is sitting on his base stats of 13-17. Here, I decide to walk away from the Swamp Gobber and take the free strike. However, I walked around the wrong way, and I also let him get a counter charge off, which means that I am the Bronzeback is now closer, which is not good. I have the Scythean goes ahead and attacks and kills the Gator it's hitting. Now the chain attack goes off, and it goes ahead and hits some Gators, and you know, it's doing damage, it's doing some work. Like I said, the better way to walk around would have been to walk around the other way, basically so that I end up not in where it is right now, but I would be more or less towing into the zone, which would have blocked off the charge lane for the Bronzeback. Bottom line for this turn, placement on E-Thagrosh and my placement on the Scythean was spotty. It's things to keep in mind as you're playing. It's not necessarily how much you can kill, it's how effectively can you kill things, as well as making things as difficult for your opponent as possible in their next turn.
Alright, now that the field is really thinned out, it's getting real scary for me. I have E-Thagrosh that is not very far away from my caster. I have one Bronzeback and one Gladiator that have anything they can do in this battle. So now it's just a matter of playing this game. Playing this last part, it's pretty much going to be a Hail Mary. With those Forsaken coming up and doing their little explodey thing, it hurt. Allowing with the Agonizers surviving as long as they did was helpful to keep a lot of bad stuff from happening. Now I activate the Gator first. I go to get my 3 inches and be at ½ inch. I do Cold-Blooded for the reroll because I need the reroll, but I do end up hitting the first time, and then I end up doing some damage. Now it's a gamble. Right now is a huge gamble for what I need to have happen. There's one of two things that can happen here. Either I can, go with page 5, go really big, and hope to win the game, or I can feed him my caster and just have it be a horrible loss. But a great game, but it is a go big or go home moment, and it's just a matter of trying to see the angles in which I can potentially get this done. So the one lone Gator does Cold-Blooded, he charges, and basically doesn't do much. Just does plinks him for a few points, nothing major, nothing big. And it's just boiling down. It's just getting down to the very final threads here of this turn. I need to. What's hard for you to see right now is that there's actually a Forsaken standing right behind E-Thagrosh. You may have seen it from the earlier turn before E-Thagrosh came in and finished off the Sentry. And I'm hoping that with all my other movements, that I can get the Bronzeback over there. So the Beast Handlers, they activate, they enrage the Bronzeback, and then they enrage the Gladiator, because if this doesn't work, then I'm definitely going to want at least ways to do control points or AP points if we were in a tournament setting. So now I activate Rasheth. He then moves up. I do Carnivore on the Bronzeback. I then attempt to cast Bad Blood from my caster directly at E-Thagrosh. He is not within an inch of the wall, so he does not get the wall bonus. But I do end up putting Bad Blood up on him, which means that I can transfer to him, and I can drop his armor by 2. Then I drop my final 2 Fury to put Rush up on the Bronzeback. The Bronzeback then decides that it's now time to get to where I can clear the wall and charge the Forsaken. So I put the proxy base down, My opponent agrees that it is a good placement. And then I spend 1 for Trainwreck, because this needs to happen. I successfully hit, and being pound 19, I pretty much obliterate her. I then advance 1 inch, which gets me within ½ inch of Thagrosh, and because I activated in his back arc, I'll get +2 to hit plus the Carnivore. So I end up just going for broke, and I just keep buying attacks until I can't, I can't buy anymore. But he did pop out a Stinger, from the first hit, so he did transfer my second hit on him, and now I have to start buying. But because the Bronzeback has so many attacks, I didn't have to buy too many to finish him off. And that's the game.